Founders, today we're going to be doing a live Q&A start-sit video. But first, a little tip of advice. If you have an 0-3 team or a 1-2 team in your league that has one of these players, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Deontay Johnson, Cooper Kupp, those teams are in must-win situations. We can start to strong-arm those teams, maybe trade some of our depth on our bench with a starter, obviously, for one of those elite players, and start to target those teams that are in must-win situations, and let's upgrade our starters. It's never too early to start to plan for the playoffs. And what better way than to have a nice little upgrade to your starters? Ben, what's going on, man? Welcome to the live stream. We're going to be doing a little start-sit. We're going to go through these matchups, totals, and good news. And this is just, let's get this out of the way early. No weather will be affecting any of these games. I'll get that out of the way super early. ETN. We can start here because it's a little muddy for ETN and his role with Tank Bigsby taking over some of the goal line carries too. You likely cannot sit Travis Etienne though. With how many injuries have been happening, you just basically have to hold, and you have to hope that Jacksonville is going to use him the way that we all hoped. And game one, getting 5 targets, that was a good sign. We want to see them continue to use ETN, and guess what? You're basically stuck with him. It sort of is what it is. Ridley's a good buy low target though. Ridley, you have to go. You have to start him every single week where you drafted him right now. But he's a good buy low target because better days are ahead. The targets are there. The red zone targets are there. He's on a high-powered offense. Now, Trevor Lawrence is off to a slow start. But with Zay Jones not practicing and now ruled out for this game, this offense becomes more condensed. And when the offense becomes more condensed, these main 3 guys, Ridley, Kirk, Ingram, are going to get more opportunities. They're going to get more targets. So Christian Kirk, this week, you can start him. I'm selling him after this week. If he has another touchdown performance like he did last week, if he goes 7 for 76 or whatever, I'm selling him because Christian Kirk only plays in 3 wide receiver sets when Zay Jones is healthy. That is a huge problem. That is a huge problem for Christian Kirk. Only seeing the field, let's peek it. Week 1 is where we saw it with Zay Jones fully healthy. Week 2, he left the game. 60% of snaps, week 1. Zay Jones, 89%, Calvin Ridley, 81%. So you see that they're only using him in 3 wide receiver sets. He's also the slot guy. So ceiling is not going to be as high. Evan Ingram's, he's pulling targets, man. Evan Ingram, if he's somehow on waivers or he might, I'm not saying you're going to go trade for him, but you're in a good situation right now, especially with Zay Jones out. There's not too many tight ends. Like I have him slated for as a top 5 tight end this week just due to usage. So Evan Ingram, absolutely, we're going ahead and we're starting him. Trevor Lawrence, you can go back to the well. You can go back to the well and start Trevor Lawrence against Atlanta. I believe they're going to be pass heavy against the Falcons here. Falcons off to a 2-1 start. 2-1. Pretty nice. Now Ritter needs to pass the ball more in order for Drake London and Kyle Pitts to get there on the same week. We're seeing about 25% of the target share go to running backs, go to Bijan, go to Tyler Algier. Can Drake London Pitts still get there? Yes, but it's thin, right? It's basically only one of them can get there with this type of usage each week. And you don't get to pick which one it is. It's going to be tough for anyone to sell Kyle Pitts right now. It's going to be tough to sell Drake London right now, but maybe we can go ahead and package Drake London to a team that is maybe 0-3 or 1-2 that has Deontay Johnson, that is maybe in a must-win situation, Maybe we can go ahead and just do a 1-for-1. That team might need someone to start right now. Just look at those teams that have suffered injuries. Look at those teams that lost Nick Chubb, that lost all these players that have just been going down every single week. Dobbins. Absolutely. Just, it's been a crazy start to the season. I don't remember any season starting like this with so many injuries. Matt Collins, the clear wide receiver 2 there. That means absolutely nothing right now, unless you're playing best ball. You're not too mad about it. He's running routes. Miami Dolphins. You're starting Tua, man. We're done saying it. You're starting Tua every single week. Last year, he was on pace for QB7 if you got rid of those games that he left early with the concussion. He was slated for QB7. He's proven it again this year, and Waddle looks like he's playing with that. He missed 1 week with the concussion. That's going to sort of be the new norm, it looks like, going forward for these NFL teams. Although we'll see what happens with Jimmy this week. We'll see if Jimmy G plays. And that's going to be heavily relying on Devonta Adams. My God, production relies so much on Jimmy G there, as well as Myers. Myers probably more importantly. If Jimmy G plays, Myers is a must start in my mind. Raheem Mostert, you're starting him. Devon Achane. Now, depending on your team and injuries and maybe matchup, did you play the team that had David Montgomery, who went off for 3 touchdowns, right? Well, you might need a comeback player. So you do have to play your matchups in redraft. That's where you might be flexing Devon Achane. Especially in this matchup against the Bills, you can expect different looks, and Devon Achane earned a weekly role. Like, no matter what, this guy should be getting probably 8 touches a week right now at a minimum. Tyreek Hill, obviously starting. Waddle starting. Durham Smythe, droppable. Leave him on the bench. Never hear from him again. 1 catch when the team puts up 70 points. He had 1 catch to finish the game. Luca, welcome to the live stream. Start 2. Full PPR, Stevenson, Sanders, White, and Rashawn. You can go ahead and start Sanders just from a usage point of view, and I'm likely going Stevenson. Here. Almost named my kid Luca. Sammy Clark, start 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex, Saquon, Jacobs, Mixon, Cook, Mostert, Kamara. Wow. Man, the better question is, who should we be packaging and targeting with a trade? Because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 startable running backs. My friend, you have the league in a chokehold right now. Let's package some of these players together and let's get an upgrade. Like, let's package James Cook in Olave and let's go try to target the Jamar Chase team or something like that. But this week, starting 2, you're going Saquon, depending on reports leading up to the game. Saquon, Jacobs, I don't know if you saw it, but the second half of that game, it looked like they really wanted to get Jacobs involved. And they made a point to as well. He was the league rushing leader last year for yards. I think we can go back to the well on Jacobs this week. Mostert's going to be tough not to start. Saquon, Mostert, and Mixon. Like, Mixon's also getting the usage too. But man, when I see this team, like, let's get some upgrades going. You can definitely trade 2-for-1s. If you go to that team that lost Chubb and you offer him, if you want to offer him Mostert and Olave, let's try to get a crazy upgrade here. I think that's going to be very smart. Even if you want to offer Jacobs, but I don't think Jacobs, his ceiling, like not his ceiling, but his stock right now is just not high enough for me to trade. So that's why I instantly go to Mostert. That's why I instantly go to Kamara because of the unknown. And I think that's a good situation. Really, really, really sick team. But yeah, you're starting Olave and Devonta Smith. Hashtag start your studs here on that one for wide receivers. My best performing BBM team, I believe I still have 4 in the top 10,000. You can search my name and let me know. Gerald, welcome to the live stream. Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, or Joe Mixon. Choose one, half-point PPR. It's between Kirk and Joe Mixon for me. Baltimore they're playing Cleveland this week, right? So it's not the best matchup for Baltimore. Cleveland with a I should say a very good secondary. We can say that at this point. So Joe Mixon getting about 78% of usage on the ground there in Cincy. So I'm going Joe Mixon here. Ben, thank you for the super chat, my man. 0-3, 10-team, half-point PPR, 6-point passing touchdowns. Burrow, Bijan, Pollard, Waddle, Christian Watson, Gibbs, Higbee. For now, London, Dotson, Javonte, A-Chain, Ford, Jason, Rashad. It's a nice-looking team. You have a lot of pieces here that you could package as well. Now, you're not going to be able to get anything for Gibbs right now, especially after we just saw David Montgomery used in all red zone packages, all goal line packages. Will Gibbs eventually get into the mix there? Maybe. It's likely going to have to be like a 3rd and 5 from like the 7. But Higbee might not play this week. I like the idea of packaging Ford, especially right now where I assume that Hunt is going to get more involved this upcoming week. It's only going to get worse for Ford. Let's try to upgrade one of these wide receivers. Now, Christian Watson, you can't sell him right now. He was out there for like 42% of snaps this past week. So he's a hold. Dotson, I think you have to hold Dotson too. Second-year talent, there should be better days ahead. He's winning routes. Why don't we just package 2 of these running backs? You also have Rashad. Let's package Ford and Rashad or Ford and Javonte, and let's try to get an upgrade at wide receiver. There's a lot of teams hurting for running backs. You can definitely trade some of this depth, and you're sitting on Burrow right now. 6-point passing, touchdowns, better days are ahead for Burrow as well. You're leading the puppy 2 right now. Let's go. How many points, Jake? How many points? Kyle, welcome to the live stream. Breece Hall, Michael Thomas, Tank Dell, Leaning Dell. What's your take? Breece Hall, they're starting to get more involved. However, it's just a guess at this point. It's just a guess with Breece Hall. So Michael Thomas or Tank Dell. I like Michael Thomas's usage, but again, that's going to rely on if Carr is playing or not. Although, when we saw Winston go in, one of his favorite targets was Michael Thomas. So Michael Thomas or Tank Dell, sort of a coin flip. Like, let me go and peek. I know Tank Dell was out there for around 60% of snaps this past week. Let me pull it up. Let's go into the playbook here. Tank Dell was out there for 61% of snaps. And really, this is killing Nico Collins, too. Can't really crack higher than 70%. Robert Woods is out there for 75% plus. And then Michael Thomas is running a lot of routes. So Michael Thomas is out there for 75%. I tend to lean Michael Thomas on this one, but you can't argue with Tank Dell and how he's looked. He's looked so good. And he's an older receiver, like entering the league. He's an older receiver. But guys, we are almost at 1,000 subscribers. We're at 986. Go down, smash the like, hit the subscribe button, help out the channel. And I appreciate you guys. We'll keep answering these questions. The Smitty, welcome to the live stream. Start 2. DK, Ayuk, Evans, Collins. Now, this is a fun 4 to have. Collins, I'm trying to sell. But DK and Ayuk, 100%. We know Lattimore eats up Evans every single year. You can count on 3 things. Death, taxes, and Mike Evans being shut down by Lattimore every single game. Oh, here we go. KLP. He's back. Need help with the team. It's pretty trash. 1-2 record, 1-point PPR. What should I do? Geno Smith, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, Damian Pierce, Brian Robinson, Mark Andrews, A-Chain. Well, man, if you didn't have to, I would say let's not start Brian Robinson. Against Philly's defense, run defense especially, just super elite. But it looks like you're going to have to, unless you want to throw A-Chain in there, but we aren't sure what the usage is going to be against Buffalo. Geno Smith, CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, it's obviously starting Mark Andrews. The team looks pretty good. Dameon Pierce, though, a little bright spot for Dameon Pierce this week potentially, playing a team that has given up a lot of rushing touchdowns. So that's a small bright spot for your team. Let's move on to the next matchup here. That was Miami we covered, and let's dip into Buffalo. I mean, Gabe Davis becomes interesting. He becomes interesting, especially if you maybe someone you're playing has David Montgomery and they put up a 30-point week. Gabe Davis is that spike week guy that can just quickly catch you up or do nothing at all. There's like no in between, but that's fine. That's fine. Josh Allen obviously starting. James Cook, you're starting, but my God, Latavius Murray and Damien Harris are going to continue to be huge pains in the asses for James Cook all season long. This is just like Jahmyr Gibbs with David Montgomery. When they get to the goal line, they're not giving it to James Cook. They're not even giving him an opportunity. They're sending in Damien Harris. They're sending in Latavius Murray. Right now, I'm doing what I can to sell James Cook. Really, really am. And then those two tight ends are getting pretty split usage. It looks like they're running a lot of 2 tight end sets, which is good. But it makes it tougher to sit one of those guys. 2 running backs, Pierce, Kamara, and Jacobs. I'm going Pierce and Jacobs just due to usage. And Kamara, they still have Kendry Miller. Yes, Jamal Williams is going to be on the IR for 3 more games, but we don't know what Kamara's usage is going to be like. It's going to be his first game back for NFL gameplay. So, also have Taysom Hill, who vultures touchdowns in the red zone. I'm just going to lean Pierce and Jacobs. We know they're the clear number 1. And who's Pierce have in the background? Singletary, Jacobs, Amir Abdullah. So, Kamara with Kendry Miller in the backfield, for me, is a little tougher competition. Denver versus Chicago. My God, let's do the Chicago side first. You're starting Justin Fields. I'm sorry, but you have to do it. The last year, Justin Fields had his first 5 games, right, as QB 20, QB 27, QB 31, QB 26, and then we saw a little bright spot week 5 against Minnesota, where he finished QB 13. He then went on for 10 weeks of top 12 QB finishes. QB 8, 5, QB 1 overall, QB 7, QB 5, QB 7. He's going to figure it out. Now, maybe he doesn't figure it out in the air, and that's okay if you're a Justin Fields holder. You don't care how he figures it out. It's going to be on the ground. He's going to start running more because the team needs him to. And that's what we saw last year. It was ugly until he started to run. But they should also be using Khalil Herbert more. They should also be getting that ground game established. So we'll just sort of see what the game plan looks like. KC is a tough game to test it off of because how quickly they get behind and the game plan just goes right out the window. But Claypool, you're not starting. Kmet, I think you could spot start Kmet still, depending who your tight end is. DJ Moore, you can flex him if you're hurting with injuries, but I'm not fully confident that DJ Moore is going to get you 10 points. And Darnell Mooney, you're leaving on the bench. Now, on the other side of the ball, I actually think we have some people we can start for Denver. You can go ahead. You can start Javonte this week. Judy, let's see the snap counts for Judy here. Because I think they're still easing him back in. And they are. 68%, 76%. So if this continues to go up, that's positive news for Judy. And he did have a red zone target. Sutton had a red zone. I believe he had a red zone touchdown called back. One of the two, Judy or Sutton, had a touchdown called back due to flag. You're starting Sutton. And he's actually one of my sneaky favorite Battle Royale picks right now. Shout out to Fancy Dysfunctional in the live chat. He's one of my sneaky guys that I'm drafting in Battle Royales right now. Tight ends, you're just leaving the tight end room alone in Denver. You are leaving it alone. Troutman is not it. All right, let's hit the next one real quick. Trying to fly through these start sits. If you guys have any questions, any potential trade talk you want to talk about, let me know your team, let me know the scoring, and we can formulate something. Cincy versus Tennessee. It's going to make Mixon a tougher start. It really will. Tennessee has a top 3 run defense, but with Mixon and his usage, he can get there catching the ball too. So I'm not overly worried about Mixon this week against Tennessee just because of his role as a pass catching running back. So close to 1K subs, he says. I know. Yeah, we did. We got to hype up Fields still. I'm still on the Fields bandwagon for now. You got to give him this one last shot, I think. Got to be fair. Got to be fair to the man. There's the injuries. All right. Chase, you're starting. T. Higgins, what are you going to do? You're starting him and you're hoping Joe Burrow figures it out. What's good is Joe Burrow's throwing a ton. You like to see the pass attempts. They're still there. And against this team with a strong run defense, you could expect Burrow having to throw the ball more this game. So they're going to attack this game in the air. Irv Smith is out. So again, it makes it a little more condensed, this offense. And Boyd, I'm likely leaving Boyd on the bench, though. Boyd belongs on the bench right now until he's basically just like a handcuff running back. Boyd is a handcuff wide receiver if Chase or Higgins goes down. That's where his upside lies. And this is one of the most frustrating teams probably right now for me in my portfolio. Not because of Derrick Henry, although I think Derrick Henry is an okay buy low target right now. He didn't practice yesterday, which is a little concerning, and you can't find any real news on him. But no Q tag, so that's good. Treylon Burks is out, and I'm actually glad. I'm glad he's out because that injury he suffered in preseason, the knee injury, I believe it was LCL, you could tell. You could definitely tell. So this is just getting him just much needed rest. And DeAndre Hopkins. Now, Burks is someone that you might actually find on your waiver wire. If you can afford to drop someone and pick Burks up, put him in your IR spot just to have him, just to hold him. I'm probably doing that. Hopkins gets hurt every single year. He misses games. He missed 2 last year. He missed so many the year before. You can definitely plan on a Hopkins injury at some point this year. Burks could be a nice little stash for when that happens. It really could. Daniel, welcome to the live stream. New to the show, and I must admit, loving what I'm seeing. I appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you. Hope I did the right thing and traded Madison for Addison. Oh, that is genius. I remember you bringing that up. It's so good. It really is. You might see another spike week this week from Madison, but as they get Cam Akers more involved, Madison can't afford to lose snaps. He really can't. Based on where he was drafted, Cam Akers is going to eat into his role even if it's 35%, if it's a 35% split. This is a team that's throwing the ball top 5. And I want to go ahead and say that Kirk Cousins has thrown the ball the most. Let me pull this up. Let's pull this up. QBs, pass plays. Kirk Cousins. 46 a game. 46 a game with a high ADOT, 70% completion. You love to see this for Kirk, and you love to see this for Addison. Now, Madison, let me peek. Let's pull up Madison here. He has nice usage right now because he's the only one there. But as they get Cam Akers more involved, It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt Madison. I'm about to get my lizards, uncles, nephews, brothers, dogs, friends on a YouTube account to get us to 1K if that's what it takes. Got to do what it takes. Addison's the best player in the NFL whose name... Come on. Yeah, no, I really like that trade that he made. Going ahead and targeting Addison, who's going to be an end-of-the-season superstar. That's how you win the fantasy football playoffs. You target those people that are going to be doing good at the end of the season. Not the beginning. I think Madison's a great sell-high target right now. Really do. This is my first show. Great so far. My dude seems like a straight-up guy, not reading the script like other shows. There is no script. We've also drafted around 950 teams this offseason doing Bestball on Underdog Fantasy, and we continue to do Battle Royales. Going corporate. Get out of here. Get out of here. No feds are in the building. All right, let's pull up. Yeah, so this is an interesting one. Tennessee, and Tannehill's not even doing that bad. Like, he's being a serviceable fantasy football quarterback for 2 QB leagues. Chiggy, you'd love to see them get Chiggy involved. And this might be the week with DeAndre Hopkins out on injury. Maybe we start to draft him in the Battle Royale contest. A little big brain play right there for the folks. Indy, A-Rich is a must-start QB. Anytime this guy's on the field, he's going to be a must-start QB. And what's crazy, Zach Moss is like the new Derrick Henry. I don't know what happened, but this man has been going nuclear. Absolutely nuclear. 30 carries for 122 yards, but he got there in the air too. Like I believe he caught a touchdown in that one. So like his game log is just, it's insane. 32 touches last week. He had 22 the week before. Just so ridiculous. All right, sounds good, babe. Got the wifey coming in. All right. 100%. Zach Moss is must start. Are we looking to trade Zach Moss right now? And this is very, very testy. Do we think Jonathan Taylor gets traded, basically? Because if he doesn't, Zach Moss goes to nothing. So it's a risk versus reward type situation. If Jonathan Taylor stays, Zach Moss is dust. If Jonathan Taylor gets traded, now you still have what? RB2? Like Zach Moss he looks like a weekly RB2 with RB1 upside. That is crazy. That is crazy. Now, A-Rich coming back might hurt him a little bit in goal line situations, but A-Rich already had a concussion. So is he going to be running as much? Coaches probably won't want him to. That's an early concussion to get on a rookie QB where we know his upside lies on his legs. Pittman, just a weekly wide receiver 3 fringe, wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 2, high wide receiver 2 upside, just due to targets. Gardner Minshew was serviceable for Josh Downs, but the one that I would want in this offense is Michael Pittman. Everyone else is just kind of out there. There's just not enough targets to go around with A-Rich at QB. Daniel, appreciate the super chat, my man. Need one running back in flex, Moss, Ford, Lockett. Full point PPR. Moss is the safer play. Lockett is the home run ceiling play. And I like Lockett too. But Moss is just going to be so much safer. And Ford, if I were you, I would look to trade Ford before they get Kareem Hunt more involved. So we saw week 3 just got traded to the team. He's already out there for 20% of snaps. It's not great. And just last year, we saw Kareem Hunt have 123 rush attempts. We saw him have 30-something catches last year for Cleveland Browns when Jerome Ford was on the roster. Jerome Ford sort of looks the part. What I do like about this offense is they have a strong offensive line. But if they're going to be using 3 running backs, like 50% usage, eventually it's just not going to be enough. So I would look to sell forward to one of those teams that need a running back before it's too late. No pun intended. All the pun intended. Kyren Williams, you can start him this week against Indy. You can go back to the well with Kyren Williams. You can go back to the well with Puka. You can go back to the well with Tutu. Just crazy how quickly this offense became like from low owned to highly targeted and highly started too. But a lot of that revolves around the unknowns with Matthew Stafford from last year and him just looking a whole hell of a lot better this year. Tyler Higbee might not play. I don't think he practiced again today. So if Higbee doesn't play, this offense becomes even more condensed, more targets for Puka. Kyren Williams is also involved in the passing game too, which is nice. So Kyren, he's not even like, I wouldn't even look to really trade Kyren right now. Now, is this a team that could bring in Jonathan Taylor on a trade? Could this team go ahead and target Jonathan Taylor? If they win this week, they're 2-2. Cooper Kupp comes back week 5. That would completely just crush Kyren Williams' value. One of these running backs value is going to nothing. And we'll see which one it ends up being. Ernie, welcome to the live stream. Trade A-Rich and Keenan for Burrow and Mike Evans. Hell no. Keenan Allen right now is a top 5 wide receiver without Mike Williams. Full point PPR. Hell no. Mike Evans is more of that boom bust type guy, although he's been having great games under Baker. Expect this week to be a dud for Mike Evans against Lattimore. In Burrow hasn't looked healthy, and he's not healthy. He almost didn't play last week. He probably, it looked like it. Like he's still being hindered by that the calf. So A-Rich, Keenan Allen, 100% keeping. ER7, I don't know. It's a hard one. I think I'd rather have Allen, 100%. Adam List, welcome back to the live stream. We're never starring Joshua Kelly. Get him out of the player pool. Take him out. We're done with him. We are done with him. Man, if you could try trading, the only positive with Joshua Kelly is like target the Eckler team and just see if you can get like anyone from him before you drop him. Same thing goes with AJ Dillon. Target the Aaron Jones team and try to get anything before you, and if you don't, just drop him. Like it's no harm, no foul. I'd rather one of the higher upside guys on the waivers than keeping him around. Thoughts on trading Amon-Ra for Cooper and Brian Robinson? It's not the worst trade in the world if we need a running back. Like, did you have injuries at running back? If not, I don't want to downgrade one superstar for 2 lesser players. Unless I lost Chubb. If I lost Chubb, this trade looks good to me. If I lost Dobbins, probably not. Just because the draft capital is more easily, you can just make it up easier. I need to know the roster. I'm still mad at Eckler for saying he's a must start. He is a must start, though. The guy don't lie. The guy doesn't lie. 12-team league, my running backs are Pierce, Pacheco, Herbert, and Rashawn. Yeah, I'm not downgrading Amon-Ra. I'm cool with going out there and starting Pierce, who's still the RB1 on a team that can't run the ball because their O-line's not healthy. But he still fell into the end zone last week, and that's all you need. Pacheco doesn't look like he's fully healthy. Let me actually check the snap count on Pacheco. It doesn't appear that he's fully healthy, but he's still out there 42% of the time. Man, I think Jerick McKinnon caught 2 touchdowns. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a touchdown, and Pacheco got in the end zone in the same game. It's against the Bears, though, so it's really tough to tell. It's good that this number is down. It's at 42% because of how far ahead they were against Chicago. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets a boost because he's running out the clock, basically. Jerick McKinnon does look like he's just going to be in those red zone packages. He's going to continue to just be a pain in the ass for all of the running backs involved. He was in the red zone packages last year, so it shouldn't be a huge surprise. Would you do Kyren or Puka in the flex half-point PPR? Give me Puka. Let's run it back with Puka over Kyren this week against Indy. Especially if Higbee misses, too. Especially if Higbee misses. But we'll see. Like, Puka, it's like since he found out the magic recipe, which is just contact at the line to slow down Puka and slow him down off his routes, I think they're going to go back to the drawing board and see what went wrong and move him into space. Like, you got to get the guy the ball. After a 20-target game, you can't target him 6-7 times and lose miserably and just throw the ball to Tutu every single time and get incomplete passes. So I do think we get a better week from Puka this week. Smile, welcome to the live stream. Would you trade Garrett Wilson, Romeo Doubs, Elijah Moore, Javonte Williams for Zay Flowers and Olave? Or would you substitute Wilson for Puka? I don't want Garrett Wilson. If I can trade Garrett Wilson for a bag of potato chips, half-eaten bag, probably accepting. If they're Lay's, even, probably still accepting. If they're Doritos, it's 100%. Dobbs, Elijah Moore, and Javonte Williams for Zay Flowers and Olave. I do think we're giving up a little too much. I would want to keep Javonte Williams because Javonte Williams is a good trade target if you have enough running back depth. If not, like Javonte Williams would be super serviceable in the bye weeks. This guy's going to help you continue to win, help you make sure that you make the playoffs when other teams, they're suffering at the running back position. So I don't want to give up Javonte Williams and all of this. Like if I can get rid of Garrett Wilson, sure. Romeo Doubs, I'm okay with it if we're targeting Olave. So Garrett Wilson, Romeo Doubs, and Elijah Moore for just Olave. Like, I would do that. If Javonte Williams had to be part of the package, I'd probably go Javonte Williams and Romeo Doubs for Olave. Or Javonte Williams and Garrett Wilson if you could trade him. I'd add him in the trade. I would go Garrett Wilson, Romeo Doubs, and Javonte Williams for Olave alone. Zay Flowers is going to be a tough one this year. On a team that wants to run the ball, it looks like Gus Edwards will be playing. He's off the injury report. I don't necessarily want to target Zay Flowers, especially if you have Puka too. It's like you don't need that extra guy. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It's definitely an interesting one. I do like the idea of getting Olave here. So it's not. I would do it if you wouldn't change the trade. I probably would do it to get Olave and Zay Flowers if you have enough running back depth. Chef is in the house. Just traded Richardson, Barkley, and Waller for Hurts, Mark Andrews, and Breece Hall. That's just like 1-for-1s. Even 1-for-1s at the same positions always like blow my mind. It's like let's trade teams. Hurts, upgrade over Richardson. Huge upgrade. Mark Andrews, huge upgrade over Waller. Breece Hall, downgrade over Barkley. But you still end up winning. You end up winning this like very, very largely by a wide margin. Breece Hall, they're starting to also get more involved. Let me pull this up. They're getting Breece Hall more involved. And if we are 2-1, if we're 3-0, even if we're 1-2 and we have a good chance to win this week, I want to target the end of the season upside, right? And as we see Dalvin Cook go from 50% of snaps to 36 to 25, and we see Breece Hall's usage go up, and someone sells him at like his lowest current value, that is a smash of a trade because this is only going to go up. think you see at the end of the season, like Breece Hall will get around 70% of the snaps. And that's good enough. That is good enough for him to be an RB1. We saw what he did on limited touches week 1. He can take him to the house any single touch. But guys, if you can do me a favor, go down, drop a like on the live stream. We're at 986 subscribers. If you're enjoying the content, go down, hit the sub, help us get to 1K. Be able to say you were here before we hit 1K. It's Deggy. You think Kamara going to do well this year now that he's back? I think this running back room is disgusting, and I want nothing to do with it. Where other people are like, oh, I'm so happy Kamara's back. I don't want anything to do with this running back room. You have Kendra Miller, who's a really, really good prospect running back. You have Taysom Hill, who vultures touchdowns. You have Jamal Williams, who's coming back. Like, he's on the IR, but he's coming back. He's coming back 3 weeks. And yeah, it's too many heads. There's 3 heads there, steady running backs, and then you have Taysom Hill, who vultures touchdowns. Might be a hot take, but I don't love Kamara's outlook. Your running backs are Stevenson, Swift, Taylor, Hunt, and Mostert. Damn. That's a nice looking squad, dude. That's a really nice looking squad. Congratulations. You definitely made the playoffs, and you're going to be an absolute force. Receivers are A.J. Brown, Lamb, London, DJ Moore, Michael Thomas. Your backup tight ends, Laporta. Let's go ahead and... okay. You have Mark Andrews. You're never starting Laporta ahead of Mark Andrews this year. Let's go ahead and let's package Laporta and DJ Moore, who I think just had a serviceable game. DJ Moore, didn't he get in the end zone last week, like on a garbage time touchdown? He went 3 for 41 and a touchdown. So in full point PPR, it's 13 points. If we can trade DJ Moore right now, package Laporta, and let's try targeting another wide receiver. We need one more piece for this team. And if you had to make it Michael Thomas instead, I'd be willing to, if I were you, I'd be willing to do that as well. Package Laporta, let's package Michael Thomas or DJ Moore, and let's upgrade at that position. Shaka, what's up, my man? Would you sell CD for Puka and Jalen? Hell no. CD, one bad game. Expect a bounce back week this week. One bad game. The week before that, he absolutely slayed. He cut apart the New York Jets secondary. Better weeks are ahead for CD. Just sit on that. Should I do that trade if I need wide receivers and my running backs are Eckler, Jones, James Cook, and Mostert? Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah, I like it. You have Eckler, you have Jones, I'm assuming Aaron Jones, James Cook, and Mostert. Yeah, you have a ton of running back depth. You can go ahead. You can get the upgrade in Olave. I think that's smart. ER7, when you think about Taylor Swift actually putting Kelsey on the map, people... Hey, those Swifties, though. Those Swifties. I heard his jersey sales went up just like through the roof. All the Swifties. My wide receivers are Garrett Wilson, Puka, Tyler Lockett, and Adam Thielen. Yeah, I would try to get rid of Elijah Moore in that trade, but if you had to give him up, you have to give him up. For Zay Flowers and Olave, I think it's still smart to get that upgrade at the position. Like when we think about the fantasy football playoffs and your starting roster, a 1 week matchup, you want the best possible players plugged in. And that's going to be Olave over all of those other guys that you mentioned that you're trading away. I think Jalen doesn't have potential. God, Pittsburgh's offense is a mess right now. I really don't want... I don't want any running back on Pittsburgh right now. The lone bright side is George Pickens. I do believe when Deontay Johnson comes back, Deontay Johnson will be fine too. But right now, Jalen Waddle. Ooh, let's revisit. No, I still wouldn't do CD for Puka and Jalen Waddle. Puka's a good sell high target right now. Reason being is Cooper Kupp's coming back next week. He's coming back next week. So what's Puka's usage going to be like, and will he even be startable, right? With Cooper Kupp coming back. Waddle I like, but injured, concussion, right? So it's not a huge deal, but it's basically, for me, that trade is CD for Waddle, and Waddle the number 2 on his team. Give me CD. How many likes to draft a resurrection? I'll get a resurrection underdog stream going soon. We'll do it soon, Ben. I promise. Should I keep Moser or trade him for like Jacobs? It's so tough to, like, if you have people in your league who will accept trades like this, like a 1-for-1 at the same position, a lesser player, go ahead. But in my leagues, they're much more stingy, and you have to really dive into the process of what that team needs, what your team needs, and sort of finding some common ground and making an even like trade. Puka is outside while Kupp is in the slot. Yeah, but Tutu's grabbing a lot of those targets deep down the field too. So it's going to be muddy there for Puka when Kupp gets back. If Kupp can stay healthy, that'll be the big thing. That will be the big thing. Ben with the wrench, good try. Yeah, Ben in here flying that wrench around, the mod wrench. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Don't test the people. Tampa Bay. I'm sitting Mike Evans. If you have Mike Evans right now, you're thinking about starting him, I'm sitting him. I'm sitting him against Lattimore. I think it's going to be a Godwin week. I think you can safely put Godwin into the flex this week. Rashad White. Yikes. Honestly, I would probably sit Rashad White this week as well. If he does get there, it'd likely be in a full point PPR league. But I don't even think he... Let me peek this real quick, because I don't even think he got a lot of targets last game too. Okay, he got his 3 targets. That's fine. 3 targets for 24 yards. That gives you like a base, right? This is good. Seeing him touch the ball 17, 14 times a game. He's getting 8, 10. He's getting about 3 targets on average a game, which is okay. You probably want this to be 4 plus for his usage, but just because he's not a very efficient running back on the ground, I could see Rashad White busting this week. In full point PPR, I think he's an okay flex, but yeah, if I didn't have to start him, I'm not starting Rashad White. Hugh the Down, 17. Trade Jalen Warren for Cortland Sutton in fantasy football? Hell yeah. Yeah, I like this trade. Definitely. And you can start Sutton this week. KT, who do you think, Waller or Kamara, would get you? If you were to package... See, Waller's not even a good trade. He's not really on my trade list right now. He's on my hold list until he has his blow-up game. He hasn't had that yet, so his stock is still down. Could you try to get Mark Andrews? Sure. Could you try to get Hawkinson? Sure. But that's going to really heavily depend on how high those people in your league are on Waller. Some people I could just see completely ignoring you, and that's okay. Like, you can sit on Waller one more week. It's coming. It really is. I'd be tempted to say Waller's a good trade target. Right now, he's like tight end 7 if you don't count Parham. I don't count Parham. I don't. Yes, he has 3 touchdowns. He's only targeted in the red zone. One of those games, he had like 2 touchdowns, 6 yards. So if you get rid of Parham, Waller is a top 7 tight end. His better days are ahead. So wait on that. Call me crazy. I'm keeping Puka and see what happens with Kupp. Maybe he's a little slower after the injury, and Puka looks... I wouldn't be surprised to see Kupp come back week 5, right? And only play like 20% of snaps. So I do think you have 2 more weeks of Puka before we see Kupp start to negatively affect Puka's usage. But yeah, I'd go ahead there and probably try to trade him as soon as possible, though, before Cup's fully back. 1-2 PPR, I have T-Law, AJ Brown, DK, Kyron Williams, Brian Robinson, Hollywood. You have Hollywood twice. You have 2 Hollywoods. That's crazy. Glitch in the system. Yeah, team's looking good, though. Team's looking good. Charlie, welcome to the live stream. Half point PPR. Addison versus Carolina or Dell versus Pittsburgh. Give me Addison. Give me Addison. We went over earlier. Captain Kirk's thrown the ball. He's had the most passing plays out of any QB this year so far. 46 a game. Passing attempts. Give me Addison. This team likes to run with 3 wide receiver sets as well, so it's not like you're heavily dependent on him just breaking a few long catches. Like, he's actually out there a decent amount for being the number 3 on the team, and he's just better than KJ Osborne. He's running less routes and he's getting more targets. So 70%. This is higher than Nico Collins. So yeah, you can safely go ahead and you can start Addison as your flex from this point forward. So I really like what they're doing with Addison and his usage. Pick one, Addison, White, or Ayuk. Go Ayuk if he plays. If not, going Addison there for sure. Chris Boyd, welcome. Bird, welcome to the live stream. Do I start MT with Debo and Barkley? Both. If they don't play, yeah, you can play Michael Thomas this week. Even if Jameis Winston is starting at QB over Carr, like Jameis Winston also likes to target Michael Thomas, so I think that's fine. But Debo was sore ribs, and now a knee injury popped up. The knee thing kind of worries me. The sore ribs, I thought he'd definitely be playing. And Barkley sort of worries me a little bit, his first game back. Who should I try to trade Puka for? You're likely going to have to package someone on your team and try to just focus and upgrade. Whether that's tight end, maybe it's QB, and you're going to be looking for a team that needs either wide receiver depth or needs a flex. Who has a weak flex? That's what I'm looking for first, and I'm targeting that team with the Puka trade. Now, you might have to wait after this week because people are going to worry that Puka's usage was down. So you might have to wait after this week to trade him. But doesn't mean you can't send a couple trades down range. Damn, I love that. Laporta's stock is just on the way up. If you have a top 3 tight end already, if you have Kelsey, if you have Mark Andrews, you have TJ Hawkinson, let's even extend it. If you have Kittle, if you have Waller's on the edge. If you have Kittle, I'm looking to trade my tight end too. I'm not looking to hold on to Laporta. I'm looking to upgrade my running backs. I'm looking to upgrade my wide receivers, my QB. Do you think my team is good? 12-man PPR, Mahomes, Mixon, ETN, AJ Brown, Ridley, Higbee, Ayuk. Yeah, we might need to replace Higbee this week. He might be out on injury. It's a solid team. Like, Mixon's usage is there. ETN, probably a little worried about ETN and his usage. But AJ Brown, Ridley, better days are ahead. I love Ayuk. So, Ayuk in the flex. Yeah, his team's looking good, dude. His team's looking very good. Get Cooper Kupp. I'm a Rams fan. He knows. Lou knows things. Puka's been going in the 4th round resurrection. So stupid. It's the dumbest thing. And you have Cooper Kupp going at like pick 18, and that league starts at week 7, right? Or 6. So obviously you're targeting those players that are going to be back week 7, like J-Mo, all these players that are injured, JT, and they're just going way too late, and that's just free money for the boys. But if you guys haven't already, go down, smash the like. I appreciate everyone coming out with their questions. I enjoy answering your questions. I hope you guys come on the next live stream, and we'll try to make some more trade targets for you guys. Hope everyone has a successful week 4. Pounders.